the worksheet, question 8. Now, there is a graph looking like this with no equation. So you first need to find that equation before you can change it to an inequality. Right. Ashley, give me this line's equation. Y is equal to, yeah, and the gradient, yeah, that's right, 3x, 3 over 1, the gradient delta y over delta x is 3 over 1, and the y-intercept, it cuts here at positive 3. Look at the graph, see if you can see that, it cuts at 3. Now, we need to change it now to an inequality. This is an equation, so it's plus 3. So we need to change it to an inequality. In the first place, I see it's a broken line, which means it's going to be less than or more than, isn't it? And then we are testing the point 0, 0. Why do we test the point 0, 0? Because that's the easiest one. You can test other points as well. But 0, 0 is just the easiest one. Now the question is now, what will make this statement true? If you look here at the green, what will make it true? This one or this one? Is 0 less than 3 or more than 3? Right, so this is the inequality that you should fit in. That is then the answer of this question. That is the answer there. Okay, now do we take the other one, and this is now, what is the equation of this line? Y is equal, now still the same question, number 8, the second line, the parallel line there. So if it's parallel, what will happen to the gradient? It will be the same. The gradient is the same because the lines are parallel. So it's also 3x. What is the y-intercept? No, negative 3. Can you see it, right? Negative 3. Okay, so now again we're testing the point 0, 0. And what will make this statement true? 0 is more than. So this is the answer of the second one. It's more than. 0 is more than negative 3. 0 is more than negative 3. That will make it true. You must make your statement true because 0, 0 is in the wanted region. Right. The next one is question 9. It looks like this. Here's a line and there's a line. Okay. So we first need to find the equations, then you change it to an inequality. What is the equation of this line here? Y is equal to negative 2. Which side is shaded now? So what is the wanted region? More than. And equal to, because it's a solid line. Right. Okay, the second line, this line, what is the equation of this line? Y is equal to this line. What is the gradient? Delta y over delta x. 2 over 2, which is 1. So it is 1x. What is the y-intercept? Yeah, it cuts at 2. So that is the y-intercept. People, this is now vitally important. Yeah, I see. So this will just be more than 0. Yeah, okay. Right. Marley, now we can test the point 0, 0 again because it lies on the graph. Testing now here. 0, 0 plus 2. So what makes that statement true? 0 is more than, and is it a solid line or a broken line? Is less than equal than that one. That will make it true. Okay. Right, now we're at number 12. And this is the last thing that you need to know before we go to the graph paper now. Write down the coordinates of the vertices of the unshaded regions. So what we're going to do is we find the maximum and minimum values on those vertices. So that's the million-dollar question. Which one will give you the maximum or the minimum? I told you we're going to farm now and we're going to see what is going to be the best here. This is why we do these things. It's very practical. Die hoeke. Vertices is die hoeke. Right, and you give me one set there. Yeah, there's a triangle and I need the 3 vertices. I would say that this one is -2, -2. And the next one, -2, 4. This one is the -2, 4. And then the last one, that right-hand side one, 2, 2. Yes, so this one is 2, 2. So on those vertices, we're going to find the maximum and minimum values. You're going to look at them, you're going to find them every time, and then we're going to substitute something in them then there. Look at number B. For me, it was not, no, it was also homework. So let's look at number B. So Chris, this time we have a broken line. So the broken, what does the broken line means? It's not included. So this time we cannot just take the vertices because they are not included. So we'll have to take the closest ones and test them. Let's just look at which points are all in that region of number B. If we start here at the bottom, the first one is 0, -2. Then there is 0, -1. And 0, 0. What else? Look at the point -1, 0. It's not included because it's on a broken line. -1, 0 is not in there. And then 1, 1 is another one, isn't it? 1, 1. What about 1, 2? No, because it's on the broken line. It's on the broken line. And the point 2, 2 is also not included because it's outside. Can you see? So those are the points that are inside. So Armand, what I say is if it's a broken line, they are not included. Then you can't take them. Right, now let's turn around now to the next page. So I'm looking now on page 7 to the greatest and the least values. And Armand, that is the maximum or the minimum. So they can ask the greatest or least or the maximum and minimum. This is what we are looking at. And I would advise you now to look at the pictures and pay attention for one. Now they say, find the vertex at which the value of the expression E is the greatest. Now the expression is E is equal to X plus 3Y. That is the expression. In the previous exercise, we didn't have an expression, so Rein, that's why we couldn't test them. But now you have an expression. So you have to put those 3 vertices now in there and see which one is giving you the greatest value. So we're going to do that with substitution. So if I take this one, it's -2 plus 3 times 5, which is what? 30. And then this one, -2 plus 3 times 2, which is what? 4. And this one, 4 plus 3 times 1, which is 7. Now, if you look at that, yes, which one is giving you the greatest value? The first one. So this point is giving us the greatest value. Can you see? And then the second question at number C is now, find the vertex where it is the least, and that is this one. This one will give you the least value. This one is giving you the greatest value. Okay, now we're going to do the same now with number 2. Yes? Just wait until we do the practical ones on the graph paper, and then you're going to see how you're going to use it. So I told you right at the beginning we're going to do a few things which leads to one question. So we've done everything now separately, and we'll put it together in the next question. Just first do this one. If you look at number 2, what are your 4 vertices there? So this time we've got a trapezium, which looks like this. There's the trapezium. So I need the 4 vertices. Yes? -2, -1, yes. 3, 3, right. That's the 4 vertices, the coordinates that we read off. Now, yeah, it is difficult to see. Let's just make it a solid line for the purpose of what we're doing at this stage, just to make everybody understand there. Right, now the equation that they give us here is E is equal to X plus Y. This is going to be different every time here. So now you have to substitute those 4 points in there to find the answers. So 0 plus 3 is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. negative 2, negative 1 is negative 3, and this one is 2. So which point is giving you the greatest value? Which of these are the biggest? Okay, so that, and this is then the 0.33. No, yeah, that is the 0.33. So this one is giving you the greatest value. And which one is giving us the least value? This 2. So negative 2, negative 1 is giving us the least value. Okay, so now we're going to do this on graph paper. So what we're going to do is we set an equation, draw the lines, shade, read off the maximum and minimums. That's the 4 steps that we're going to do now here. Okay, so we're going to do this sum now about hens and ducks. The hens are X. No, the hens are Y and the ducks are X. They say they must be at least 100, so it might be more. X should be more and equal than 100. At least 200 hens, Y should be more and equal than 200. And the last thing that we know, if you read out your question, is that he can afford only 600 pounds. So the duck cost 150, so 1.5x plus the hens, they cost £1, so plus 1y should be, what is the inequality that I must put in now? Less and equal than 600. Less and equal than 600. You have to write it here at the top. You have to write it there at the top. Okay, now we're going to draw the graph. So you draw your 2 axes. You label your axes very clearly, the hens and the ducks, it's 1 mark. And now we're going to draw it. They say there, take 1 centimeter for 50 birds on each axis. So that's the scale. So 1 centimeter here is 50 birds. So please label it out on your graph. And here, this is also, you label it out in 50s. 1 centimeter is 50 birds. Okay, and now we're going to draw the lines. First we draw the lines and then we shade the inequalities. Yeah, both of them, both is 50. They say 50 birds on each axis. 50 birds on each axis. Okay, now we're going to draw the lines. Where's the first one? X is more and equal than 100. This is very easy. Here at 100, I draw a solid line. Which side will I shade now? The unwanted region. So I'm going to shade here. I'm going to shade there. And then y is more and equal than 200. So what does that mean? Yeah, at 200, I draw a line. And where do I shade? Unwanted region. So I shade here. I shade here. That's where I'm going to shade. The unwanted region. The unwanted region. Because I stopped here at 300 and that graph goes up to 600. Okay, but what must I do with this inequality first? Y is equal to mx plus c. I have to go to standard form. I need to change this to standard form. So this is y is less than equal to negative 1.5x plus 600. Okay, yeah, so that means we'll have to go here up to 600. Mine is now very short actually. So you'll have to go up to 600 there. Remember, mine is not to scale now here. Okay, now how do we draw the skewed line? That's why I taught you that. Where are you going to start? The y-intercept. So I'm going to start at 600. Mine is not correct now here. The board is too short now here. It's a negative gradient, and 1.5 means negative 3 over 2. We're drawing the skewed line now. Okay, and it's a skewed one, and it is delta y over delta x. So from here, you just go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And you draw your line. 3, 2. From 600, go down 3, 2. Yeah, 3, 2. Delta y over delta x. 3, 2. That's what you do. Okay, now we need to shade. And how do we test shading? 0, 0. So now we're going to use Sorry? No, it's not always logic. Yeah, in this case, but it's not always going to be. So 0 is less than equal than 600, which is true. So 0, 0 is in the wanted region, so I'm going to shade there. And now you have a nice white triangle in the middle. You should have a nice white triangle in the middle. Start at 600. Okay. And now the final answer is, they ask you now, find the largest possible total number of hens and ducks that the farmer can buy. Buy means it's the money one. It's the money inequality that I'm going to use, which is this one. So let's find the 3 vertices now that we have there. What are the 3 vertices that you have? 100, 200, 100, the next one, 100. Where's this one? That one? Is it the last one? 100, 450. And the third one? Just remember, it must be whole ducks and whole hens. You can't work with decimals. 270 and 200. So this is the 3 vertices that we've chosen now. And now you have to substitute this money one in there. So do that now and put the money in there. This inequality, this is what we're using now there. So find the maximum and the least one. The question is actually the largest possible number, but we have to test them all. You just work with this 2. You just work with this 2. It must be less than 600, but it will automatically be less than 600. Put them in there. 1.5 times 100 plus 2. What is it? 350. 350. I substitute these values in here. What is 150 plus 450? 600. And 270 plus 200. 270 times 1.5. 270 times 1.5 and 200 times 1. Yeah, but then it means that point is not correct because it's giving us now more than that one. So it's not precise. Okay, but this one is now the correct one then there. We're going to choose this one. I'll check just now. 100 ducks and 450 hens. This is what you're going to take. Bungalows and machinettes. Bungalows and machinettes. A machinette is like a chalet. So the one is round and the other one is a rectangle. Okay. A developer plans to build some bungalows and machinettes on 4,000 square meters of land. Can you see? This is the maximum land that there is. To build a bungalow requires 250 square meters of land. So the bungalows is now X and the machinettes are Y. On your graph paper at the top. Work together with me. So the bungalow is 250 X. So I'm now first just going to work with the land, the piece of land on which you're building this. And the machinette requires 200 square meters. So 250X plus 200Y. Okay? And now what is the maximum land that I have here? So what should the inequality be? Yes, less and equal than 4,000. Less than equal than 4,000. You don't have more land. This is what you have. Then the labor. The labor, it takes 240 days to build a bungalow, X, and 120Y, that's the labor, how long it takes to build it. And the developer wants to keep as many as possible labor, at least 1,800. What does that mean? It might be more. No, might be more. So more and equal than 1,800. It might be more. And then they say, use inequalities to show this. So there I've got it. And then we're going to draw it. 1 centimeter is 1 unit. And then they say the developer finds there is more demand for bungalows, So there must be at least 5 bungalows. So X should be at least 5, but it might be more. So there is my 3 inequalities now. There's your 3 inequalities. To be able to draw them, we need to change them to standard form, isn't it? So let's do that first now, to change them to standard form. So if I change this one, I just do the algebra, because there are people who struggle to see it. So 200y is less than equal than negative 250x plus 4,000. This is algebra here now, and y is less than equal. Now what is 25 over 20? 5 over 4. 5 over 4x. And what is 4,000 divided by 200? 20. And I'm showing you this because it looks now that I have to draw this graph up to 4,000, and once we start, you're going to think, oh, it's not going to fit in, Ruan. So this is why I show you this now immediately. So this is now the one that we're going to draw. And then this one, to change this one to standard form, I will then also say here that it's 120y is more than equal than negative 240x plus 1,800. I simplify it. So y is more than equal than negative 2x. And what is 1,800 divided by 120? Right. So this is now the 3 inequalities that we're going to draw on our graph paper. Okay, so this is at the top of your page now. Okay, so we draw our axis only in quadrant 1. This is X, the bungalows. X, the bungalows. And Y, the maisonnettes. The bungalows and the maisonnettes. And they say there 1 centimeter, 1 unit. You have to draw it now on your graph paper. And this one has to go up to 20. And we need 20 and 15. So label out your axis. You'll have to... Now, which one will be the easy one to draw? Yeah, that X more than equal than 5. That's right. That X more than equal than 5. So start with that one. X is more than equal than 5. X is more than equal than 5. Which side will I shade? To the left. Okay? Shade to the left. This is the 3 that we're going to draw now. At least 5 bungalows. Shade to the left. Okay? Now, the next one says, let's take this one. Y is more than equal than negative 2x plus 15. So it means I'm going to start here at the y-intercept. I start with a 15. What is the slope? Negative. What is the gradient? 2 over 1. 2 over 1. So now you just go 2 blocks down and 1 to the right, and then you draw the line. Draw the line. Mine is not to scale, so don't just look at mine there. There it stands. Yeah, this is this one. So here's the 3 inequalities. You start at 15 and then you go down 2 and 1. 2 and 1 block. You just go 2 blocks down, 1 to the right. And draw your line. Okay. Now we look at the shading just now. Let's just first draw them. Draw them. Mine is not to scale, so mine doesn't look precisely. And then the last one, where do I start? 20. So here at 20, the slope is still negative, and now it's 5 over 4. 5 over 4. So draw it now there. You count 5 blocks and 4 to the left. 5 and 4. You shouldn't just shade. We first have to test it. And this one looks like this, isn't it? Okay, now we have to shade, and to shade we test. What do we test? The point 0, 0. So is 0 more than equal than 15? So for this line, 0, 0 is in the unwanted region. Okay, green one. So I'm going to shade here. Shade, you must show the shading clearly. And then this one, testing, testing. Is 0 less than equal than 20? That's true. So for this line, 0, 0 is in the wanted region. So where do I shade? The unwanted region. That's where I shade. So now you should have two lines, and this one is not a triangle, but a quadrilateral. Can you see? You don't have a triangle this time, but a quadrilateral. Okay, now the last thing that we need to do now is the vertices. So find the 4 vertices now here. Let's find the 4 vertices. So the first one is 5. It can't be half a building. It must be a full number. So then you'll have to take a closer one. This then one of the closer points, because it must be a whole building. We can't work with fractions here. Inside the region, not outside. It must be inside. What do you see? 5 and 6. 5 and 5, okay. And the next one? 5 and 13, that's right. That one is right. And the other one? Yeah, you'll have to take a whole one which is inside your region. They must be inside your region. 13 is in. What is the 5, 13? Is it that one? Okay, and the other 2 vertices, what do you find there? Yeah, here where it cuts the x-axis, this point here. 16, 0. And the other point there at the top, oh, here must also be a point here. This one and this one, so they must, it shouldn't be 0, it should be a number here, 6 or 7. 7, 0. Okay, now the question is, what is the greatest number of dwellings that he can build? So which one do you choose now? This one is, because 5 plus 13 is 18, and that is the biggest number that you get there. So what does that mean? 5 bungalows and 13 maisonnettes. Write it down. Write it down on your paper. On that paper on the front, write down these numbers and the final answer. 5 bungalows and 13 maisonnettes.
Win free airtime with One Africa TV. Share your comments on the channel. SMS your feedback, name and town to 555. One Africa TV. It just gets better.
That makes it difficult here is because they use P and Q now instead of X and Y, and that, I think that's confusing now for you. But and that's why I asked you to draw your axis so that you can immediately see it. So everything should now be on your graph paper, and we're going to label the axis then P and Q. So this is the spectacular candles. It is very important that you will label your axis. Super. Last year, we taught you about graphs. You're going to use graphs now in biology and physics, chemistry, business studies, geography, all those subjects they use.